the meeting to order at 7:08 p.m. And we welcome Chris Monroe to the meeting. And we're all here, so we have full attendance. Nancy will not be here tonight because we switched nights, and also I guess we can talk about it now since it's right here, even though it should be under unexpected subjects perhaps. She thought in order for her to really catch up on everything that she's learning and doing for us, which is a lot. She's splitting her time quite well from what I can see for the amount of time. She could save herself 2 hours every 2 weeks to work on all the office side of things rather than come here and try and do minutes for a little while, maybe 2-3 months max. She still believes that once she gets some of these other programs that she's still learning, like OpenGov and stuff, that once she has that under her belt and doesn't have to take all the training time, that she would come back and wants to come back to do the minutes. Is that acceptable? I said before, we said 100% yes, that we would do our minutes again for a couple more months. Is that something that, what do you all think?
That seems like a good use of time.
For now.
So instead of being here, she's working on other things during this time period?
Not in the evenings, but instead of leaving the office early twice a month because she can only work so many hours in her position, and if she spends an allotted 2 hours here, then she doesn't have it to do office work on Thursdays. I know it's tough, but I'm
So she's not going to come to any meetings for a few months.
For a couple of months. She anticipates just a couple of months. She's still learning a lot of the software that she has to know that affects both building and Board of Health. In all these documentation you have for building plans and everything else. So we don't have to decide now, just think about it. Right now I will take minutes.
Do you want me to take
I thought
minutes? I don't mind.
She had her little book open.
Oh, I don't have a book.
Okay. That
There's no book here.
Liz, if you don't mind.
I don't
that'd
mind
be
at all.
awesome.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Thank you.
I like it.
Great.
Oh, good.
Not so much that I'll do it forever, but temporarily.
Great little template I found the other day because I was handed secretarial duties on a committee at church. I said, thanks. So, but I'll send it to you. Yes, it's a great little template.
Great.
Okay. So next is minutes. Other than the numbering system, which I messed up a little bit on, does it look like everything else is okay?
I looked at it online, I thought it was fine. Just my opinion.
Okay. Anybody have any other concerns? I gotta straighten up the numbering system for the final version.
Yeah, the 2 6s.
It's all mixed up. But my old computer, which is a large screen and everything, I've got to go buy a new one on Sunday. It's on its last legs. So I realized if she sent me because on the Chromebook I don't have Word. On our Board of Health Chromebook I don't have Word.
Right.
So I had her send me a Word document and downloaded that. But the screen is so tiny and my vision, even with reading glasses, is not perfect anymore. I had trouble keeping up with what was on the screen. So I got the numbering wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe that will all change with the new computer.
Yeah, with Word.
Yeah, so, everything else look accurate, to the best that you can see.
The only question I had is it 1689? I don't know it.
It was for, submitted by me actually, for signage reimbursement,
Okay, so
or not signage, key, something, what did I return in?
Oh, was that the one for admin supplies or something?
Yeah.
so I would just add a little something.
Okay, correct, identify what it was,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it was admin supplies.
I thought we hadn't given the names as of last meeting. We had? The 12th.
Oh, no, yeah. I missed that.
At the time of the meeting, I thought that
Oh, okay.
we were asking legal about that, but the names have since been given and visits have been made.
For what, where are you?
I'm sorry,
Hold it.
one cannabis voter action plan.
Okay,
A.
yep.
I knew that a request had come in. I wasn't aware that.
Oh, the name of the
Oh,
12
you
complaints.
Yeah, the
Right.
first.
Yeah.
I think
The
that
whole first
happened
paragraph.
after, correct?
Yeah, sorry. That goes for, remove, that actually should be in tonight's update.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't
Good.
know anything about that. So was I sleeping last meeting?
No,
As I
you were
dozed off?
sleeping, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
Alright, identify, okay, so I would recommend that we don't approve the meeting, these minutes till the next meeting with the
Okay.
proper corrections.
Okay.
So we'll table.
Yeah,
approval.
sorry, that was new information to me, so.
Good,
And I read that too. It's just for.
okay. Identify. Alright, so we'll just table that. In order to help, Chris, because he's also babysitting, but is here on behalf of the planning board committee on the cannabis issue, I would like to make a motion that we jump down to, old business and cannabis odor updates and, start there and then go back.
I'll second it.
All
Okay.
in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So the first thing is what I put in last month's minutes. So you all saw the letters that Damon had written. And what we did is there's a time limit in order to respond. And so the names were submitted. I pulled together the names. I submitted it to Kristen, who's helping, because she's getting the emails as well as Nancy. And so she's taken the lead in making sure that the correspondence email replies are done by the due date that it's requested for public documents. So she's been real helpful for that. And so we did give him the names of the 12 complaints. And he wrote a reply that he visited several people on High Street to question them about the smell, and supposedly they said there was no odor. So he actually walked up the street in the email. He also requested the actual, in that email, which needed to be replied by this afternoon, he requested the actual complaints. And instead of me responding with pieces of the emails that Mallory had sent me. So I did send him an email today to Kristen and to the Board of Health that CC'd them that, some of that information, just the original complaints were done when Mallory was, coming in a few hours every couple weeks to keep up on stuff, but I don't have actual complaints. So I gave him, I can't give him any more information than was given to me. And I did restate that the 5 of us in the September meeting, which is in the video, how we had each confirmed that we had smelled odors along the Route 68 corridor as far as 9 Main Street and as far up as the small cemetery up on Route 68. And so I did give him that information and then just reminded him nicely that we hope he'll get a plan to us how he might prevent the skunk smell this year. And that went out today. I'm sorry I didn't print that out. So in all of this, last week, Chris was meeting with Nathan and I sat in and we had a general discussion of where to go with all this. So Chris, come on in and join in on where we are and what we might be doing next, okay?
You may bring your assistant.
So Christopher Monroe, Grimes Road, Chair of the Planning Board. So we had a meeting. I guess also to add to that is the evening before that, I was appearing before the Select Board on a separate set of issues for a bylaw revision that we're working on. And the chair had asked me to hang around and Nate had asked me to hang around. They had asked me some questions about the special permit process. The language in the special permits. And I answered the questions for them. And I also answered some questions for them about odor complaint language that's in the special permits. So the special permits both contain language saying that upon 3 credible complaints, we'll schedule a public meeting. I misspoke at the Select Board. It is not a public hearing under the special permits. It is in fact a public meeting. But one where we notice the permit holders, we notice all the interested parties in town who are interested in attending, and we also really pretty broadly publicize it in order to do kind of a stakeholder public engagement session to try to work through it. And upon hearing that, the Select Board that evening asked for the Planning Board to coordinate with the Board of Health and to try to do that. And they asked that we do that before trying to do anything that is any heavier-handed. And a big part of that is the town's working pretty hard to try to manage its legal budget. So anything that any board tries to do as an enforcement action has an expense directly associated with it. So the hope is that we can have a joint meeting together with the Planning Board and the Board of Health and do this public session, get the permit holders to come in and talk about what their mitigation plans are and what their expectations are for this year and see what we can do and have questions with them where they're prepared with their respective engineers or experts to come in and talk about what can and what can't be done. Because ultimately, with the special permit being granted, there was extensive discussion about the possibility of odor, and one of the mitigating, there's a couple of mitigation techniques that we wrote into the permit for them to use. One of them is to not grow, I get confused between indica and sativa, but one of them is much smellier than the other one. And they're also not allowed to grow top shelf super skunk, which is particularly odoriferous because it's very resiny and very intense.
What's the name of it?
Super skunk.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the stuff that they sell at the dispensaries that where they actually sell the flower. So what to the best of my knowledge, what both facilities are currently growing is a bulk product that they take and it gets processed either in a bubble machine with water or else it gets sent off site to be processed where they extract the trichromes and the THC off of it, and then that's subsequently used to make other products like shatter and edibles and all of that stuff. Yeah, I learned more about marijuana on the planning board than I ever did in college. It was unbelievable education in the last couple of years. But there are a whole lot of requirements that are in the special permits. And I think it would be good to have in a public session to kind of do an accountability check on what's being followed. If there's anything else that's practical, I think it's important to try to set some reasonable expectations around it, because the standard's never going to be no odor. It's just mitigated as much as possible and not rising to the level of a nuisance. Now, the special permits are something that's a little distinct from the Board of Health jurisdiction, because the Board of Health does have jurisdiction to mitigate nuisances under state law. But that also falls under the request from the select board of where they really hope we try this first in order to try to come up with a cost-effective, good for everybody kind of solution. So that is roughly where it's at. I've asked Mark to plan into one of our upcoming, to check with the Board of Health and work with you guys and our schedule to plan in a session and then to sufficiently advertise it. It won't be advertised in the paper, but we'll put it on the website, put it on the Facebook page, and all the stuff that's likely to draw
E-blast.
maximum attention to it. Because the hope is that we probably actually end up having this on the senior center side, and we would have to give cable access notice ahead of time, and it would be a good sized public session. But that's roughly where we're at with it.
And I thought that was a very good idea. So Chris, you explain it much better than I do, so thank you for coming
Oh, no
and
problem.
explaining that. And I personally, after having sat with you and hearing those ideas, thought that this would be a good way for us to go. And the more committees that are committed to all of this, I think the stronger leverage we have to do it in a, like you said, a more friendly way, if you will, without actual litigation.
Yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about it. Although in situations like this, everybody walks away a little unhappy. Nobody's going to get everything that they want. So
Right. But
I think
if we
it's
can make a lot of gains, that would be also good for
Yep.
everybody all around. So,
absolutely. I also think there's a lot of benefit that can come from just getting realistic expectations from the facilities. Just knowing, okay, it's going to be odoriferous, but it's going to be odoriferous for a few days, and we're going to try to do this, because I think one of the things that was really frustrating to the public is when it was first happening. It felt like the kind of thing that would just be forever. It's like, is this going to be how it is forever? But
well, it did keep reoccurring
It
several
was
weeks,
months,
though.
Yeah.
you know.
So it did reoccur, and if they can come up with a way to do a better harvest system where that it's not so much reoccurring, that's a big benefit right there.
yeah, I agree with that. I think some planning the harvest different would potentially have a pretty big impact if that's something we can come to agreement on and works for them. So.
Right. Okay. All right, any other discussion right now? Anita's?
Have we talked to the people that filed the complaints out? I know you said you have emails. But I mean, have we
The
reached out to any of them? I mean, why
Well,
would
some of
they?
them came here.
Why would they have told him they didn't smell anything? Were
I'm
they
not sure who
Were they
he asked.
intimidated?
I'm not sure who he asked. He didn't state who it was. He just said he walked
Could have been
past
a
it.
question he asked too.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
To me,
I-
that doesn't sound very nice to show up at somebody's house and say, "So you complained about me." I don't know how he did it. He could have been very nice. I have no idea.
I know,
But to me, that would have, if I was the person that had complained and he showed up at my door, I think that would have bothered me.
right. I don't know who he did, but this was in his email.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
So,
that
I mean,
feels
we have
wrong to
that
me.
in
That
the
just
email.
feels wrong.
Apologize for not
Right,
pointing that
right.
out.
But again, it could have been just the way you phrased it. Do you have any concerns? You know,
Well, do you smell it today? No, it's winter.
right,
but-
exactly.
It's an open-ended way that this Damon has approached the whole subject. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all. I'm
Yeah.
just making that clear to you.
Yeah, that's why I think there's a lot of benefit to try to get everybody in on a session. So
Yes.
we'll have our clerk send out letters to everybody who filed a complaint, requesting them to appear. And I know not everybody can make it, but the best we can do is try to be as fair as we can to as many people as possible. So give everybody an opportunity to speak in a nice controlled environment.
I think that's a good way for us for the next step.
Yeah.
So,
If people can't attend, could they send something in writing, like say a letter
Yeah, absolutely.
voicing their?
It's gonna be recorded too, right? It's gonna be on the cable, so
Yeah.
they can actually watch it and then.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying if they wanted to have something
an
read
opinion
or
expressed,
Oh, yeah.
if
Yes.
they can't,
Yeah.
sure.
could they send a letter in ahead saying this is, I can't attend, but this is what I wanted to address or whatever.
Yep, absolutely. The thing that we work hard to avoid as a planning board is information or complaints that are not directly credited. So it's to the same point as why you have to give your name and your street every time you hop in and speak at a public meeting. If people send written complaints or written statements, we will always incorporate them into the record. They just need to be signed and can't be anonymous.
So when are you anticipating this meeting?
I think we're looking at early April because our next meeting, we have a bunch of stuff that is on for public hearing. And we meet the first Wednesday and third Thursday of the month.
Well, that would be good to have it down the road just a little bit, so people can plan on.
Yeah, I'll give
making
everybody-
the meeting, gives them a few
everybody
weeks to, reschedule if they have something that they really wanna go.
Yep, and figure out things like childcare.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Chris.
No
It's
problem.
been very helpful.
Well, if that's it, we will take our leave.
Does anybody
How
have
about-
any other questions?
Yeah,
Any other questions or anything? Okay,
Thank you, Chris.
thank you.
no problem. Well, have a good
Nice
night.
to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And your assistant.
Wave bye to everybody. And
Hi,
smile.
thank you
Come on,
for
show that
coming.
smile.
There it is. Thanks for coming.
Have a good night.
Hi.
I think you're his favorite.
Pointing at me.
Okay, that's
I
that.
hope they do it sooner rather than later.
He said April.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be gone the 14th to the 23rd of April, so hopefully it's
I will
before
be
that.
gone.
Huh?
I will be gone the 21st to the 26th,
So
Okay.
27th.
All right, so it might get pushed to the 1st of May at the latest.
No, you can go ahead.
Early.
if they could do it early April, I
I'll
mean,
wave
early
to you
April
from
would be
Atlanta,
fine.
Georgia.
I thought he meant kind of early April, but.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I think
let's
he did.
hope
So,
early April.
Okay, I will try and make sure Nancy and Mark are tasking, having that on task. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our order on the agenda, which is COVID-19 flu Maven update. On the Maven, I did send an email to Steve Curry approving the use of his new hires, which are Seltzer and Hoover. In that, when I spoke to him on the phone about it, he said each town has to approve those persons just so that the state will release any Maven contact information to our town. These are our representatives till we have someone else.
Who are these people?
They work for MPHN Network,
Oh, okay.
and so they help cover, I think it's 12 towns, including Pittsburgh. So, because that was needed in order for us to get any Maven information, I therefore had to say yes, even if feel that their background is the very best.
Are they nurses?
No, that's the point, they're not nurses,
Oh.
it's
I think
epidemiologists.
Epidemiology.
Yeah, so,
She and Catherine is a admin.
Oh,
so, that's why we were hesitating.
but it gets us back into the Maven
Yes,
network.
Well, for reports. if
for
they-
reports. It
If-
doesn't mean that they'll do follow-up calls or anything, but at least we'll get notices from now on.
But we're still
Which is-
paying, right?
And that's what we're paying for. Yeah,
Ugh.
because by state guidance, we have to have somebody covering.
somebody.
It
It
just-
seems like for the money, they're not
There's-
doing that much.
There's state guidance, but, for the longest time, there were several towns that were not covered by Maven. And during COVID, they pushed,
Yes, it did.
but, there were still several towns. One in the Berkshires, one is Southern Worcester.
Yeah, two of them down in southern Worcester and stuff, so.
Seems like the money would be better spent with a
Well,
public health nurse.
we-
If we can finagle it.
Yeah, so, so that's why I just said, well, we gotta do it
Yeah. For
And I
now.
just discovered
for
that
now.
my login has been inactivated, so somebody must have taken over Braintree.
Oh.
I'm unloved.
Anything else about any other reports along that front?
No, school was on vacation, so there haven't been any cases. She hasn't told me about any cases of anything this week.
Okay,
Well, they're what they have 2 days of school, Monday and
Yeah, no.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
okay, so that's that email, right? Title V reports. And we have one from 2 Brigham Street, 2 Brigham Street. And it has passed. That it was completed on February 13th. And here
Is that
it
the
is,
house in the corner or the house next to it?
2 Brigham Street.
Two's gotta be right.
It must be the big white one.
It's the white one with the
Yeah, with the pillars.
pillars. Yeah, that one. Okay. Oh, that's that. Okay.
Are they selling it or are they just updating them?
My
Okay.
guess is he is gonna try and sell again. They had tried to sell that before COVID and then made some other decisions or something. Cause I know that I had done a D-box repair inspection. And then it went on the market. That's the only reason I know anything about the property. Then it was off, then it was not sold, they removed it. That's all I know from just my personal experience.
Is that your story?
That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Yep. Well, she's
These are pretty fancy pictures.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, good. I think
There are no, let me double check. The wind is picking up.
Is that what I hear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's actually really windy tonight.
Yeah, that one not there. Okay, so there are no water tests to be dealt with this evening. Permits. While you're reviewing, we'll just keep moving.
Yes.
Nancy has been following and keeping on E.L. Harvey trash haulers. And the final update is this, tracking number. They're owned by a bigger corporation somewhere else. And yeah, they're not E.L. Harvey local anymore.
Yeah, Westboro.
And so she's been on top of it, just got the confirmation of the tracking number for the check that's coming. Because they were behind on doing everything. they don't have very much office staff here in their local office. Personally, they've been picking up the trash and recycling pretty regular, and if there's really a day where there's bad weather, I got a phone message saying, put it out, leave it out for the next day.
I think 2 weeks ago they didn't
yeah,
get
a couple
call,
weeks
and
ago.
we didn't get a call, and I was
Oh, you
surprised because
didn't?
they
I
almost
did.
always do.
Yeah,
But then they picked up the next morning, so we just left it out.
yeah. So
I was
that's just
surprised.
showing that she's following up on it, and the check has been sent.
Good.
So then we have Feathered Acre Farm.
What's that? Who's that? Feathered Acre?
It's in Northfield. They are applying for a temporary food permit. And this is finally, they're gonna be selling at Hubbardston Rieta Market only. So they're applying for their mobile permit. And they've included all their information from the other town. Okay, so this is really nice. I think I finally got it through to John that anyone who does anything like this has to do this. We've had problems in the past. So I make a motion that we approve the temporary food permit for Feathered Acre Farm.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, then we'll, because that'll be starting up within a month, I'm sure, if the weather permits.
Yeah.
April something.
Yeah,
Is it April?
they open in April if they can.
Oh,
I have a
Palm
son who's
Sunday.
addicted to
Yeah.
Legos.
Yeah.
They like to open on Palm Sunday.
I think they did last year too.
All right, and we'll just sign off on that one.
And I drive by every Sunday. We should be concerned.
I know they're causing traffic, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Where is this listed?
That's pretty sad. It was 5 minutes from Rieta. I think I've been there once in 22 years.
I've only been there a couple times myself.
I like to go either at the beginning of the year or the end of the year because people are cleaning out their houses. Because every time, it's just the same stuff all the time in the building there. You gotta go out back, you gotta go way out.
Okay.
But then again, I have a yard sale constantly on Sunday, so I don't go to Rieta. I sell my stuff to the people that are coming down 68 from Rieta.
Overlapping notes to myself. All right.
They requested a check December 21st. It's March.
Yeah.
What? Why would it take 3 months to get a check from Texas? Oh, man.
Snail mail.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
hopefully it's coming.
Goes over.
Was, I know, way the corporate does it. I mean, like, just re-register the car. It's like, registration came in this envelope, and the sticker for the license plate came in that.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Get some postage.
27.
Here we go. Under,
Expires.
so you're looking at the permit and signing off on it? Oh, wait a minute. Let's
Yeah, I
get
was just
caught up
looking at
before
the
we start anything
expirations.
else.
It's December
Are we supposed to sign off on this?
On that, no,
Oh,
it's just an update.
None
That
of
you
it.
need to
Oh,
sign.
on this, yeah, we have to sign off
Sorry.
the other permit, yeah. Cause I go look at that one.
On that, catch up.
There you go.
Okay.
Yes.
Radiculopathy. I have a bulging disc, and it's acting up. Alright, shove the jacket into this here. It's a worn out chair, no
All
problem.
chairs don't help.
Okay, there we go.
No, the shoes are terrible.
So, ready, good, put it right there, so I don't get messed up. Open septic plans, engineering reviews, we have, lot 43 Birches Road, a lot across from it, and, here is the, she gave us the whole folder, here's the approved. We have a couple of them here, so one can look at one side, one can look at the other side.
Why does that one have things circled in red? No reason, just
This is
like,
approval.
like this stuff that just means they checked it.
Yeah.
Alright, that's not really this one.
Oh, wait a minute. This could be.
This has a lot of red. You see all the red?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, this is in red and then.
Yeah.
So he's, because we've had a little bit concern about a couple of them, we've been, I think he's doing a closer check, if you will. And if anything needs changing, he writes on the plan.
Oh, maybe that's why there's a lot of that.
Proposed
yes.
3-bedroom dwelling is here. Here's the road.
Is that, I think it's the same.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
they're the
This
same.
one just doesn't have the red writing on it.
As much of it, no.
Do you want all this? I don't either. That goes with that.
Yeah.
Looks like it's gonna be in the front
Above
yard.
Yeah.
It's above my pay
Oh, me too.
And where's the well? Should be.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get you guys interested because when I'm off board in New York, so somebody else has gotta look at these. But there's a lot of good.
Mr. Boy.
I'm not allowed.
No.
Okay. So this one is great in a lot of ways because there's a lot of detail and depth of instruction
Imagine if it's
because of
110
this site
per-
requirements
Yeah.
for how it's gonna be installed. So
Yeah.
this one's really nice in that
There
regard.
are people that just skip by. Well, it's functioning. It's
That
fine.
one's- is
We're
that
gonna add
52
2
Lombard?
bedrooms. No, now you gotta
Or is
expand
that the
your-
first one?
It's the
Well,
first
septic system is 5, yeah.
45
Birches.
birches. So, okay. That's the same thing.
What's this one?
It's just part 2 of the same thing.
It's
Oh.
With more details.
Oh, I see.
crosscut.
It's a cross-cut view, which is pretty good. So they've really included, because it's a special,
We're still doing the more traditional septic system. It would be nice, this one's more modern systems out there.
okay. We don't notice any problems here, right?
Just wanna make sure that the septic system in there. Water goes in the right direction.
Yeah. Downhill.
Yeah.
Okay, 52 Lombard Road. We had gone from approved to pending because of wetlands and streams in the back. A further update was I was actually in the office last Thursday and the owner, Bert, B-E-R-T-I-Thiame, I don't even know how to say that.
Perfume.
Thank you, called and I talked to her and of course she was worried because we had switched it back to pending. As of today, we have not heard from DCR. However, just after we had made that decision to put it to pending with a letter to DCR, the conservation, 2 of the conservation committee members went out, walked the property. So things were overlapping as to when things got done. They verbally approved it, saying that where everything was and the way the lay of the land was, it shouldn't be a problem, and gave them a verbal, gave the owners a verbal approval, which will not be official until they have their meeting sometime in the next week. I don't remember their actual meeting date. So, because, again, we're overlapping our meetings first, their meeting is second, we still have to officially wait till our next meeting on March the 2nd. Oh, it's
It's
almost
still February.
flip the calendar, the meeting will be.
The dates are the same, February and March.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
28 days, so it,
Oh, it is the 14th, so our
Yeah.
next meeting on the 14th, thank you, I should know that, after all these years. The next meeting will be on the 14th, and so we can officially, but I just wanted to keep you in the loop that as long as Concom approves, then I think we should approve whether we hear back from DCR or not. Because two of the committee members officially walked the entire thing to make sure it was okay. Looked at landmarks and everything. So,
What happens if DCR comes back with a contradiction?
they are up the creek,
I mean, really, because they're.
literally, because there are two little streams near the property. And I will remind her of that. I'll make a follow-up phone call and remind her that we did do that. We haven't heard anything. We will approve it. However, if DCR comes back and says no, then, they might want to think about holding off for just a little bit longer. Now, it may all get resolved by the 14th. We still got a little bit more time for the final approval. I just wanted to keep you updated on a rolling basis here. This is the folder. Right, that's that folder. Okay, that's what we spoke about. The third one is Lot 5A, New Templeton Road, with a revised plan that our engineer, Bill Ledger, approved on the 15th. I think that was the one that we said, this doesn't look right, and sent it back to him. And here's the revised plan. 2 copies.
Once again, they get the best one.
What had to be revised?
It looks like the same.
The very original plan on this property was
2019.
set in 7/2020.
Yeah, I think that's what I said.
Property
On
got
the
sold.
house.
the well is way down here,
Oh.
septic is up here.
We didn't see
Where's the house?
handbook is Green Valley.
There's no house, I don't think there's no house on
Is
that
it-
property yet.
No house on the property.
I went by it the other day and saw the sign there.
So this is the proposed driveway, so the house is probably gonna sit right here, right? The
Yeah.
driveway coming up, so this,
Yeah, this property,
this is in the
Some of
front
these people,
yard,
they build houses.
It's,
wells in the back.
these houses are way back.
The
The original
ice
house
day.
is
It's that,
way
this
back.
particular
Not
one,
like-
I think of that on the farm out here, the Westview.
Yes.
this particular lot, there is a slope, but it's not horrible. Cause I've driven past it.
The one just
Yeah.
past Comet Road, though, I drive by that one all the time. It's like,
Yeah,
why,
there's,
where did you build up in the middle of the mountains?
yeah, and such a steep driveway, how do
Maybe
you-
there's a really nice view.
I was just talking about that today.
Yeah,
Some friends of
but
mine about
if
that
it's icy,
specific
you're
thing.
not gonna be
Yeah,
driving
that
down
same
there.
house with that
I
driveway.
drive
It's a
it,
scary
sliding
driveway,
down
in
there.
my opinion.
It is. Well, I looked at it today when I was coming back from Dublin, and it's like, wow, how do you even get up there?
4-wheel drive, a
Yeah.
truck, and lots of sand and salt. I mean,
I had a.
maybe it's worth the view.
I had
Very, yeah.
a home in West Virginia
So,
that had a driveway
closing
like
that
this.
house back here then?
And they didn't get snow very often, so you don't think of that very often.
So we
But we had a couple winters
well,
that
there.
when we were there, that were very bad.
Is it, and
To
it's
the
going
point that
downhill?
we dug into the wall and created a stone wall and
Downhill.
a street level
Yeah,
parking area.
Yeah.
So we
But you
didn't have
still
to
gotta
drive.
get up.
Well, that
Yeah.
was,
I know some people who
It's a
do
good
that. They have a
distance
shed at the
away.
bottom and they have a four-wheeler
and I,
with chains, and they drive the four-wheeler up and they park at the bottom.
Nail in
and I
tree.
said,
Yeah. And you just
any
four-wheeler back
future-
down in the
any-
morning.
yeah, any future houses have to have a level
What is
driveway.
that gonna do?
The nail.
So we're on a hill over there on Williamsville Road, but the driveway to the
Your
house
driveway's flat.
is flat. So it's acceptable. I totally get that.
Okay.
Nail in tree. So the nail in the tree, why is that having significance there? Did you see the nail in the tree?
Yeah, probably just some
Which
way
part
to
of the map is
survey, some survey point or something.
Right there in the middle, there's a nail in the tree.
Okay, so that's the
And there's
third
on the
one.
left, too.
Why is that?
So this is the revised and it's all
Yeah.
set and it's good to go.
Yeah,
And- okay.
it's being used as a landmark,
Oh, okay.
construction landmark. Those are there's one over here too. There's they use those as points of landmarks for scoping out the property in this particular case.
Yeah.
Well,
survey.
it works.
A surveying point.
Yeah, all right, we're
Yeah,
okay
yellow-
with this
yeah,
one?
yellow
All
tape.
right.
Must be a pretty big nail there to make it.
Yes, they're stakes.
And don't they sometimes put those bright colored ribbons too? They nail
Oh,
the
yes.
ribbon to the
Yes.
tree.
Okay.
Big honking.
Um,
We have a piece of rebar stick out of the ground.
Yeah.
That's our point.
It's a little scary.
A little piece
Yeah.
of rebar.
I think that
Yeah.
one. Okay, under Board of Health regs, anything new, Judy?
Except for that notice that came today,
Oh, yes.
so we'll have to.
So there was a notice from, that the email was forwarded to all of you, from, Department of Environmental Protection with a whole set of guidelines for private wells. Basically, I would suggest that we, because it's a lot of documentation, tons, that we use that as an addendum in our regulations so that we don't have to reprint the whole thing. It's huge.
Maybe like
So-
cite it in the
Yes,
like
so
cite this website.
Yes, and I would like to cite that as, further guidance on private wells.
Our private wells regulations right now are very similar to the towns surrounding us, the ones that do have regulations.
Yeah.
So, the one I have in particular is Westminster, and it's almost identical to Westminster.
So the state isn't requiring this, but we
No,
can,
it's, yeah, the
we can
guidelines,
add it
yeah.
to our bylaws.
Well,
And is that something we've decided we're gonna do,
It's
is
like
add
the
it?
tattoo one that I put in where they had updated it, and then the one on odors that I had found that we have yet to look at and approve.
right, those two sections we have. I just wrote that this was my copy. I went through with all the typos.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks.
I sat and read through and
It's a
tried
gift
and
for you.
circled either red or pencil and made remarks, some of which I'm sure you've already noted. But a lot of them are just
There it is.
edits.
So as it currently stands, when a new well is tested, it doesn't have to test for these things? But going forward, if we add this, then that means,
If we incorporate it into our regulations, yeah. It would probably behoove us to look at all
So-
of this.
So
first,
Take
so
a look
we
at it some
don't know
more.
that we're definitely gonna do this.
not
I thought it was
necessary.
just one more like test that they would run.
No, it's a guideline. And probably a lot of what what's in there is already in here. How much can you change? And the other thing too is you're looking at when the state comes through like this, they're looking at cities as well as towns.
Correct.
So a lot of what may be in there is not even going to be applicable, considering everybody's on a well.
You got the 2 pages,
So-
here's more.
Currently, we don't test for PFAS in well water.
We can add them in.
Oh, okay, so this is saying that
They're encouraging you
it
to
was needed to
recommend them.
include a
test.
private well testing requirement.
Recommendation to encourage municipalities to require.
Yeah, right now, you
So
put a
we-
well in, you have your
They test for certain things, but
They
not
they want
PFAS.
you to do, somewhere along the line, you have to do a complete long
Analysis.
list. Yeah,
And that includes PFAS?
and you,
Yeah.
no, but
PFAS,
we
no.
can,
So nothing
So-
currently includes
It
these.
This is
includes
a recommendation.
And they're recommending we add that to our.
that long list
Okay,
as part of our complete. So we can.
and the downside would be it might cost a little more to run another,
the
and to add
PFAS
this.
to identify. So I had a conversation with Mark Popham, and this came up about the landfill. But he is does so many testings. He's on a committee. He was invited on a committee where the DEP is looking at landfills, all this kind of testing stuff in general. And so I asked them if all that testing that we pay for currently that he does that include specifically PFAS? And he said, not directly. The tests that are getting done involve volatile organics, and that's what PFAS comes under, but it's not specific to a PFAS test for the landfill. So these PFAS would be a water, again, it's being
an
encouraged.
additional test.
Yes, and he says this is the direction that the state/DEP is going towards, because these do not break down.
So we could add it for Hubbardston as a regulation before the state mandates it, but it looks like the state's going to require it soon.
He's not sure how long it will take for these new standards to get adopted. Some parts may happen within months because there's bureaucracy with all of this and hearings and all the rest. And so it's just something to think about. So, and here's a copy of the model. I think it was all in the email. You could pull it up if you wanted to. There's one copy of the
Like-
model.
Like bedtime reading. Huh?
Yeah, multiple
I don't see any
pages.
downside to adding it as a required well test, unless it's going to be very costly.
Well, at this point,
Costly
we don't
to the-
know how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah, that would be
So
something
that
to
would be
consider.
something to look into.
Yeah,
It would also depend on the history of the town with old, historically, what kinds of plants and factories were here in the past, as to how much of the risk is. For example, locally it's the Westminster area. Next to it, that had a fertilizer and something else, plant factory, if you will, and that was the source of well contamination around that area. It's not in the whole town, of course, but it is in certain wells.
and on the Gardner side, right beside Stop and Shop, that big piece of land that the city owns now that was never cleaned up,
Right.
that could be leaching. I mean, Hubbardston's only
Well,
a
that,
minute or two down 68.
Yeah.
yeah.
What
But it
used to
all
be there?
depends on the
What used
watersheds.
to be there?
As a junkyard.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
Is that where the
something.
fence is?
They already
Yeah.
they already
Yeah.
determined that
It
it's
was a junkyard.
it was nasty, and they did not remove all the soil. They did
So,
not. They buried
It
it.
wasn't well cared for.
They buried the crap. It's still there. Reaching into the soil.
Nice.
so,
That's my husband looked at the file and
one,
said,
yeah,
no thanks.
Yeah.
so,
With the, are you talking the LaJoys? That was up the hill.
No, right beside
Oh,
where
right
Stop and
next to
Shop
Stop and
used to
Shop.
be.
That was,
Right
that
beside.
was the junkyard, yeah.
Yeah, and they just buried it. They buried the junk.
Yeah.
It's still there.
I was,
So if somebody wants to build on it, it has to all be dug back up and removed and carted
I was
away.
wondering, because it just suddenly disappeared all, like almost overnight.
No, so it's
Um,
just
yeah,
leaching into
some of
the
those
soil.
sites become solar fields in other towns. That's just a side discussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we do need to just consider it as before we finish the regs. So we have private wells, we have the tattoos, we have the updated odor section, and I think those are the last three sections, right?
Unless,
The only, yeah. So, anyhow,
I don't know.
This is, you can actually
it
go
looks very,
online and look this up.
it looks very similar to what we already have.
Yeah.
yes, it
On
does.
an expanded version.
Okay, so
Correct.
except for the PFAs, basically.
All right,
But
those are
I'll
regulations.
look at it this week.
Do we want to consider creating a list of fines? That's something we have to think about.
I think I would wait till after we get that regulation.
Wait. Oops, I'm writing on this. Well, anyhow. We have the three sections. All right, we did the cannabis health nurse. One of the things we can say is that we do spend $1,600 a year paid to PHN. Perhaps we can say that starting July 1, the end of this fiscal year, we could start funding a part-time nurse for Maven at least, so many hours a week or month initially. The BOH revolving account is solvent. The revolving septic account is in the red by almost $12,000.
And we still haven't figured out.
I have figured out some of it. One of the things that has gone on, which I didn't even catch until about a week ago, is when someone pays for an engineering review, that's X amount of dollars. But they also submit these constructor is one to show you these application for disposal permits. That's another fee. We've been collecting one, not two. That's part of the problem. Second, the previous sanitarian, Tim, was billing for every visit. So say you have a new septic system going in. First step is perk. Then the system get approved, but then the next thing is the construction, either new or repair. You have to do a bed bottom inspection. You have to see when the pipes are laid. You have to do a final inspection. So there's 4 times you're going to the property before that leach field, D-box, and so on is all done for a certificate of completion. He was charging $75 for each one of those steps instead of including it. Phil includes it. He charges one fee for the whole thing from perk to certificate of completion.
And it's less than the 4 separate
Oh,
things
yes.
that, okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah, cause you're up at, cause he was doing, 150 for a perk plus 150, that's 375.
On top of the fees that,
That, on top of the engineering fee that he was charging too. This was Tim. This was not caught by any of us and not brought to our attention either. So that's part of where it came from. I'm looking and still, Nancy and I are gonna sit down in the next 2 weeks. She has access to every deposit and every expenditure. And we're gonna go through and see what we can see. And then I'll be able to hopefully bring you another report in April about that. And how we can fix that.
So you're saying that we weren't collecting enough in fees from the property owner or whoever's installing the system to
Cover
cover
Tim's cost.
what they were
What
charging
Tim-
us, but to the tune of 12 grand though, that's,
Over time with all the sites. So if.
And that was a very busy time,
Yes, he did a lot
Yeah.
of them.
a lot of what's going on.
So if we were not collecting fees for, at least 200 out of each application. You know,
and
you
there's
got
no way to go
$1,000
back and
$1,000
get
bucks.
that money.
You
It's-
got, not from the owners, it's, no. So that's, you know, five places and you've hit $1,000 already. Okay.
So who was responsible for making sure they paid the proper fees?
The clerk.
Okay.
And knowing how she had to cover 5 different departments.
Yeah.
I am not
Just,
surprised that she didn't catch everything. Okay.
A lot of money.
and the
So we have to,
plus training probably wasn't up to what it should be.
correct. I'm going in every week with Nancy and we're working on stuff. And she's learning OpenGov, which is part of the building plan processing stuff that we are part of. We're only one step in that process, but she's trying.
Although she could skip the tuberculosis notifications.
Oh yeah, she just forwarding the stuff to
I know.
us. I
Going
started.
forward,
Hmm?
I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead.
Still on the 12,000.
Yes, go backward.
So going forward, should we increase those fees so that we make sure that we're covering
Well, I think
the
once
cost
we
of
get,
it? We can't be going in the red all the time.
No.
once we get into the bottom of it, then we could probably adjust it to
I mean,
something
even if
that's
it's
not gonna-
$25, you know,
Well, you don't want to
something.
destroy the potential homeowner either, but
No, but
Well, no, I'm saying 25
But over
bucks,
time.
50 bucks. I
Yeah.
mean, in the building of a home, that's nothing.
Yeah, if we collect
But
a little bit
the
more
town
from
has
each
to kind of
yeah.
make sure we're covering our costs. We can't be operating in the
We
red.
also, yeah, and make sure it's also comparable to what's going on all around us as well.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, I mean, 25, 50 bucks here, there.
So
It's not going to stop somebody from building here, right? For
no.
50 bucks on a fee.
correct.
So just
But
saying.
that's where we're headed. Yes, we'll probably raise them shortly. Again.
I mean, there are some towns where fees and things are exorbitant. No one cares.
Well,
No one cares. Look at the taxes in Ashburn here.
So-
Sky high, almost the highest in the state. People still live there and build there and go there.
so that's where we are on the how did I get to that? Anyways.
I'm not quite sure because
I
we
don't
were on
either.
health nurse.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Well,
Um
because we were talking about the money that we
Money.
were spending on her, yeah.
yes, sorry, it evolved.
Well,
To get back on track a little bit here, the legal handbook, anybody need, we still need, everyone still needs a copy, correct?
It's 200 pages.
Oh,
All right, an online version, access. All right.
yeah, maybe
Nancy-
just send us.
Yeah, I sent out the password, so you can download it.
Okay.
I didn't, oh, a
I'll
password?
send it out
Okay.
again.
Oh, I didn't have to get a password.
Thank you,
Okay.
Yeah.
Judy.
Yes,
There's a
you
paper
get
that tells you.
No.
Send out
Well, I don't know, I can't say I did, I can't say I didn't.
Word.
Yeah, I sent it out to everybody.
I think I saw it and then just kept moving.
In the subject line, just put password or something like that, so.
Or
Well,
MAH.
Or just MAHB.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Yeah.
know.
And then there's also the public health one, which I haven't sat down and printed. But I'm hoping to have at least paper copy of everything. 'Cause
Here.
Okay, so we'll, so you all get a password so you can look at anything and then you don't have it online without printing so many papers. Next is Holden Hospital account update. Judy, was going through some documents in her home and found a folder on it, which is still at your house tonight, but
I put it on the kitchen. And then
with further
turn the lights on,
documentation.
walk right by it.
Of course, right?
It says which court case, where the court case was handled to approve this account back in the day. Once I have a copy of that, the next step is to contact the county court office for public records on all the details from them. As soon as it's as soon as we have a copy of the court document, which should show, because it's delineated in the document she has at home, that part of the money is to go to the Board of Health, then we can reclaim all of that account.
Like
So,
back money or just going forward?
back money. Period.
So-
Yeah.
It's 5% comes to the town, 5%
Overall,
of the
Amount.
overall interest that
Can,
comes to the town.
can you say that again? So you're going to take
So-
this documentation to who?
so there's documentation that cites the court case that's authenticated it.
Yeah.
Back in the middle 1990s. Once we have that, we can do public records request
Okay.
for a copy of that ruling. And that ruling, based on the information in her folder, that she read out loud to me over the weekend when she found it, should show us and our town administrator that we are legally allowed to have the hospital Holden account. The Holden Hospital account. Sorry, flipping words.
When
And the percentage of that comes to our town, how much we get, which I've given you letters and stuff that shows it's
yeah, it's
20%.
got a chart.
So
There's
it
a whole
actually
chart
says
and everything.
Board
Yeah.
of Health and not
Right.
just what we had read before, like
And
Letters.
and that's-
health
and I actually
agency,
think
which could include the
court-
fire department and everybody else.
according to what I'm still looking through some of the documentation. I didn't even realize I had it, but I found it. But when I got off the board, I just kind of tucked it away. So anyway, I believe the court case was under Holden Trust.
Okay.
So we can go and track that down in the court and see exactly what the whole court thing was all about. And then we can sort of figure out how much is really supposed to be in that account.
Yes, which her husband Dennis has been backtracking.
And he got to a certain point, and then I guess the town outsourced their accounting, and that's when we started losing track of where it is and how much. So we have some on the other end, not only at the beginning, but we also have some
More
additional work
recent.
to do on the back end.
So maybe the new accountant didn't realize and was putting
Not
it
the
into
current
another.
one.
Oh, the
Before
one
that.
before that.
Well, even before that, there was one
Wow.
that who was the TA then? I can't remember.
Ryan.
Was he? Okay.
So an
At the be-
initial error was made and then it just got carried forward as the same. Error.
Well, when they
No.
outsourced, they changed numbers
On the accounts.
on the accounts.
And-
And that's where some of the septic issues are as well as
Yeah.
this one.
It's the making sure you use, that was the other thing that came up that we did discover already on the septic revolving account, is that monies were not put into the right account number. And bills were paid out of the wrong account number and stuff, so
Sounds like we need a forensic accountant,
yes.
right?
Anybody
Somebody to-
like to do that? Do you like to do that? Okay,
Ugh,
That's
kind of
where
stuff
we're
puts
at.
you to sleep.
That's why I became a nurse.
Yeah.
I don't do accounting.
okay.
Alright.
So I did speak with Mark Popham about asking about decreasing the testing
Yeah.
on all of this, and as I told you earlier in the meeting, he is sitting on a committee where the DEP is reviewing their landfill standards. And based on some of the information, which he asked me not to divulge today, than to say that we shouldn't raise any flags right now because they're looking at increasing a lot of testing over the next year and a half
Oh, God.
when this all gets approved. So therefore, don't put in something that's gonna cause a red flag now. Therefore, I would like to make a motion that we continue our current contract with Mark Popham. He has suggested that because the land is DCR watershed, that we can, and he'll work with us to have them take over the cost because it's their watershed. And they have a special water trust from which, with the help of local local representatives, we could probably get that turned over to another agency to cover, not the town. But for this minute, we should, and I mean for the rest of this fiscal year right now, we should approve his contract so that we don't get fined and don't get a red flag from the DEP.
So how often is
It's
it?
only 2 tests, one in the
Twice a
spring
year.
and one in the fall. So there will be one coming up, and it'll have to come out of the town budget as usual.
Kinda.
But
You'd
he
think
did,
they would have some type of standard that, 20 years of
but
all
there-
good testing and you're
Right.
set to go.
But with this new controversy about PFAS and what could be in some of these other dump sites, as you mentioned about Gardner, yes, it's going the other way.
Just gonna
Even though in a rural
test into
town,
eternity.
even though in our small rural towns, what would be put in a landfill under the state guidelines is very limited. Okay, so that's the general plan. Is I recommend, based on my phone conversation and his input, that we continue the contract and then look to, with his help, to see if it can be paid from the DCR Water Trust.
They just keep extending this testing.
Yes,
Because it was supposed to be for a
Yes.
limited certain
Yeah.
number of years.
And
And then
right.
then there was a short gap. There was a gap in there somewhere.
They're intending on
So
removing-
they extended the number of years that it had to be tested, but I agree with you. This is like how many years out now?
Right.
Is this?
And
This
I
is
don't
decades.
know him,
This is
you know,
not
at all, and
years,
he's probably a
this is
wonderful man.
decades.
But it's in his best interest to continue this contract.
Um,
So,
he-
you know,
The only part of that fee he gets is about the time that it takes him to go out and go to the tubes that where you stick your collection pipe down and pull it out. And that's it. The rest is laboratory fees.
Is this? I'm paying like.
It's on the
a little bit of catch up here. Is it about like? Is it expensive? Is that?
It costs it's $4,200 and something
Per test.
per analysis, and we have to have
That's a
2
lot.
a year.
Yeah.
It's over $9,000 a year.
And he's suggesting that we hold off on reducing the contract because there's
Well, we
going to be
can't
more.
because we are required to test. If we try to appeal it to the DEP,
Mhm.
he says
It's not happening.
the momentum that is occurring is not going to be in our favor.
Gotcha.
And the problem is that for decades we've been doing this, and for decades it's been all squeaky clean from day
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, there's never been a problem.
one. Never
Yeah.
been a problem.
Yeah, and
How old is this landfill? 20 plus years?
so previously.
30-year-old
almost 30.
landfill.
Previously, Tom Larson tried to have it reduced, and
When I was on the board previously, we tried to have it
yes,
reduced,
we've tried twice and
Yeah.
failed terribly at it.
And it's
because
DEP
not-
that's saying no?
Yeah,
They are
they
the
keep
ones that
saying,
have
well,
authority over it.
well, maybe, and then they just, so they did reduce it from 4 times a year to twice a year.
Well, then we need to get somebody else to pay for it. Because
Right,
that's,
and that's
that's
what-
It's a drain.
exorbitant.
Yeah, we started off with a trust fund and drained that a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, 30 years of this. It's real fast. Oh, man.
Excuse
That
me.
was the 90s
The exact
when it was
number
covered.
is $4,955 right from the
5,000 a
contract.
year, 5,000 times 2.
10,000 a year.
It's going up, and it's the test report packet of everything they analyze is multiple pages. It's not a simple testing process, and that's where most of the expense is.
So at one point it was 4 times a year, and now it's twice per year.
Yeah, and it's the landfill is covered with this paper sludge,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And so
And
at
soil.
first it was part of testing so many times a year was
Mhm.
because nobody had ever done that before. Nobody had covered a landfill. So we were the first one in the state to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wanted to see how well it would, stand up to weather and everything else,
Done really well.
and super well.
And if they want to continue to see how well it is, they should pay for it.
Yeah.
It's not.
And they've
It's
been
not
very
us.
restricted because we had one lady that wanted to come in and plant some flower, wanted to do some flower planting on the landfill, and then then sell the flowers. And they said no, because we don't know what the paper, So anyway, or the chemicals in the paper, or
We'll do the
whatever,
flowers.
The Board of Health also pays
So-
Mr. Meager $280 twice a year to mow it, so it doesn't get overgrown and nasty stuff and trees.
Yeah, but that has to happen. And
Right.
that's fine. But the testing doesn't happen.
It does, by state
There's
DEP
these little
guidelines,
pipes.
it does. So, he's gonna help us get someone else to pay for this, but in the meantime, for the spring test,
Yeah,
I
we have
make a
to
motion
approve
that we
this.
approve Mark Poplin's contract dated January 23rd. Second, because we have to.
I'll second it.
It comes out of our, it's not paid out of.
Tonight on the, I'll second it, Queen.
Okay.
Judy and I are just getting each other.
Who's in favor? Do we have
Aye.
3?
Aye.
Aye. Who's against? You can be against. It's okay.
Nobody. It's. I know we're just stuck. We're just stuck doing
We're
it.
just
Yeah.
stuck. Yeah.
We're
And
stuck.
that's-
We're just not happily stuck. Let's put it that
Correct.
way. We're
That is
begrudgingly eyeing.
That is correct. And he's going to help us
Okay.
work on this
Okay. Good.
because he knows we're in dire straits. Here.
When is the fall test?
October. We have some time to get it
To
sorted
raise
out.
the fees.
Do
This
we-
actually comes
do we have the money
currently.
to pay his
Currently,
contract?
this testing comes out of general fund, but because it's a board of health issue,
Oh, okay. So that's
It's
not coming out
overlapped.
of one of our accounts.
it's
But he's-
complicated. But anyhow,
Okay.
yes.
But still, the town
And
can't
this will
afford.
give us a chance to also talk to the legislators. So they can
Yeah.
also petition on our behalf.
Right
That's what they're
to
getting paid
to
for.
the department. Correct. The correct one that might. Yes.
Go for it. You know any of
Yes.
them personally? Invite them over to dinner. Give
No,
them
no,
an
no,
earful.
no. We're gonna do
Meet
this
him
by
at
the
Williams.
Okay, next, new business. Recycling dumpster update. The there is an construction style dumpster that is sitting there that costs almost $61 a month to pay for. We are currently still getting money from metal recycling. For example, if if bicycles are left on this by the railroad tracks for a month, someone will tell the DPW to come pick it up, and then they throw them in the middle, and other things of that nature. When there's road reconstruction, repairs and construction, any of the pipes that they pull out for drainage and stuff, those go into the metal dumpster and we get money for it. I just picked up a check for $474 from Templeton Salvage, which will get deposited in next week's warrant. And the discussion with the head of DPW, Travis, yesterday was he was nearly begging me to keep that dumpster, pay for it from the metal recycling monies that we will continue to get, so that trash doesn't build up everywhere around waterways and things that people just dump.
So the 474 was for what period of time of collection?
That was for a pickup that was done in the fall. So Templeton Salvage, we own, we the Board of Health, and through the recycling, actually own 2 dumpsters. Metal dumpsters for that Templeton Salvage just pick up when we say they're full. Then they sell the stuff and we get a check. And that brings in income. The town has no other way of dealing with stuff that just shows up.
So we own 2 dumpsters?
For
So
metal
for metal.
only.
Two
Okay.
metal
So
and
the
then
$61 per
Is
month is for
for
a dumpster that's for other stuff.
And it's considered a construction dumpster from Republic, and the 61 is the maintenance fee to have it. Now, when you have to have it emptied, maybe once a year, then you're adding another couple $100 to the fee to have them haul it away and leave a different one. It's just one round trip. They bring a empty one and haul away the full one, of the same quality.
How much does it cost to empty it?
Last year, I want to estimate that it was about $200 to $250 to haul away a full one. That's my
So-
estimate.
So it's
memory.
costing us like over $1,000 a year to keep that. Is what I'm.
So
If my math is correct. 61 times 12
So
months,
that's-
and then another 2 to 250.
yeah,
1,000 to 1,100.
So he was saying on behalf of the whole town and stuff that falls off a truck or blows off of something else or rolls away.
Or inadvertently goes out somebody's window.
And yes,
Mm.
yeah. I reiterated, he said last year the reason so many mattresses ended up was people were just dumping them and leaving them on the side of the road for months at a time. And if after 2 months, DPW was picking them up, well, we cannot. And I strongly told them they cannot be put in that dumpster whatsoever. It's totally
anymore.
against the law now.
Yep.
And I think I got through to him, but in that regard. But his concern is we have no other mechanism or dumpster to accommodate anything for the town. And this is something that we could do for the town that hopefully will continue to at least break even. So that's where we're at.
So the metal salvage money will go to pay for
It goes into the
that dumpster, so
revolving.
it's kind of a wash.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the hope. If
Yeah.
we wanted, we could hold a couple metal only recycling mornings, twice a year or something to fill that metal dumpster up so that
Yeah.
it continues to
Make us
Like-
a little money.
make the money to allow the town to have a way for the DPW to take care of stuff.
Yeah. 'Cause it sounds like it's going to be close.
It is going to be
It may
close.
actually be a little bit in the red if we don't do something like that.
Correct. It's just something to think about at this point. So we have a bill that will be coming shortly because it's once a month. I don't have a perfect answer to this. Again, it's one of those things weighing the benefits versus the cost.
Yeah.
Do we leave the town with nowhere to get rid of stuff that falls off trucks and things of that nature?
Do we know that like people aren't going and throwing their junk in there just so they don't
They
have to
can't. Everything's locked.
pay? It's all locked. Okay, good.
It's all locked up. Unless it's during Monday through Thursday during regular DPW hours, but there's staff guys working over there all the time.
Okay.
They can't just go in there. No, there's no way. So if you want, we can. I asked last month that we pay the last bill. I guess I'm gonna just ask that we approve one more bill and think about it some more if you want. Or we can go
it's all right.
forward.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we continue to pay the Republic bill on a monthly basis, at least through the end of this current fiscal year, ending June 30th. Yeah. And we'll pick it up again, see how it works out.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Yeah.
Second, somebody? Colleen?
I'll second.
Lori's seconding. All in favor?
You take my
All
job.
right.
Take my job, man.
Life is getting more complicated in some ways, but this is a benefit to
Yeah.
to the beauty of the town and such. So in that regard, it's a good thing.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, I almost wrote Colleen seconded.
She can have it if she really wants it.
Oh, no, I'll share.
I guess Judy's turn next.
I'm going to table changing the fee schedule except for one item. Again, as you've heard, there's issues with septic and stuff. And the biggest issue is Ron Burton Training Camp and also Peaceful Acres both have swimming pools. The fee listed on our 2022 fee schedule for a permit to operate a swimming pool is $55. On the form on the town website that they print out, it says $50 permit fee, inspection fee $75.
And who inspects the pool?
I do.
Okay, so is that included when we go to do like check the entire camp?
Mhm.
Then the pool gets checked
Yes.
and then we get the water report and the whole spiel.
Yes. So
Okay.
that's $125, which they're both willing to pay. So do we want to have the permit fee be $55 as it says on our fee schedule? And then, which this form will get changed slightly to say $55 with the inspection of $75. That's what I make a motion. I make a motion that we change the permit fee officially for 2023 for swimming pools and campgrounds and such to $55, which is on
The
the
website.
fee on the website fee schedule, but it's different on the application. So I make a motion that we continue with the pool permit fee at $55 and a pool inspection fee of $75 for 2023.
55 seems like a very good amount.
I agree, yeah.
A couple years ago, what happened was all fees were raised $5. That's how it happened
So where is it currently $50? Not the website,
on the application.
on the application.
So 55 and 75.
Yes,
And that'll be added to both,
This
cleaned
will-
up and
right.
fixed and,
Yeah.
correct.
okay, yeah.
All right?
Yep.
Thank you. I made that motion. Who's seconding this time?
I'll second.
Colleen, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we're handling that part. I think I will table the rest of the fee schedule. We'll make sure y'all have copies, or you can just go to the website. Go to the Board of Health website and look up the fee schedule to see if we need to change anything at the next meeting for the 2023 schedule, okay? So the rest of that I'm gonna table, okay? All right. Uninspected subjects.
No, what is
What
the
is-
regulation for number of
Unregistered
unregistered
one.
vehicles on a property?
One.
Unregistered?
Oh, wait a minute. Unregistered,
One.
one
She added that because we're getting a lot of homes with too many,
more
and,
than one.
right, and thinking that Nathan wants to have monthly updates, we could put this as a reminder on the Board of Health update on, remember that and so on and so forth, or if there's a vaccination thing or something from the CDC, we can put those in the monthly updates that then go out to the whole town.
Oh,
And that's the thought behind
So,
re-educating everyone in town, reminding people.
but what happens if they have 10 unregistered vehicles on the property?
Like
Like,
our
what is the-
friends.
for what?
Like, we can say, yep, you only allow one, but if
Like
they
our
have 10, like,
friends.
what
They're-
recourse do we
okay.
have?
So that brings us up to 248 Gardner Road.
Yeah.
Which under the authority of the building inspector, he can say that that is not the proper use of the property, and it's being turned over to him to start moving forward on how to handle it, to do that. I told Duffy that we would be glad to include our trash pictures and trash inspection, how it's technically a house inspection report whenever he needs it. But it's gonna start moving
Yeah,
forward.
because it's
Through
getting
him.
worse. It's
It's
just
2
getting
years.
worse.
It's, who's
So,
our building inspector
Once
now?
spring
Duffy
comes
is
and
his
I can get to
name.
the top of
Duffy?
the hill,
Yes.
I can take another
And
walk.
he's very smart, and
There's so many.
he's
There's at
very
least
good
3 or
for
4
our
RVs there
You
now.
have to get to the top of it.
so
To really know
so
what you're looking at.
that brings us into that Hale Road
You and
will
I,
remain open
this
until
spring will do
the
that.
court settles
Well, that's a whole
it.
different thing.
That's different, but
yeah.
248 will start to move with the planning board and Duffy the select board and Duffy and the action that can be taken. And I said we would be there for a supportive role. Okay? On 2 Shawnee Way, today, this afternoon, where are my copies? This afternoon with police escort, I went out and posted the condemned property signs and handed the people that are staying in the trailer and the official notice that they have 7 days to find other living arrangements.
They have 7 days
Yes,
to vacate the property completely. They're not the owners, correct?
correct. The owner is in a nursing home in Pittsburgh. The daughter also lives in Pittsburgh, I was told. We will be sending her a certified letter of all of this. And there is, run it with me, samples to show you.
So is the plan to sell the property?
Has nothing to do with us.
No, so we don't know what the daughter's gonna do now that he can't live there anymore.
The
He
only,
isn't living there.
Yeah, I know, he can't live there anymore, right, so.
if it becomes an abandoned property, then it comes back to us.
So tomorrow, I'm going to reach out to legal to notify them of the current step that we're on in case at some point down the road, we do have to have legal involved. This is the letter that was handed to the people who are living in the trailer, and this is a copy of the condemnation that was put on the door of the
Because
house.
it's not livable.
It is not livable. Does not have running water or septic in either place.
Oh, how is he living there then?
I don't know 100%.
Okay.
And so one was also posted on the front of the trailer. On duct tape on.
So they're currently living in a trailer?
Mhm.
So does it have a bathroom or running water or anything in it?
No running water on the property.
Even if the trailer has a bathroom, you have to empty it someplace.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where it's
It's gotta be connected to something.
It's probably connected to something, but I did not see what.
7 days from today.
Yes, the police and I will be going back.
That was your second visit here, right?
Yes, I did a drive-by last week to see if they said they would be out and the following week, and I drove by to see if they were still there, and they were. The weather was really going to be horrendous last weekend and week, so I didn't push it. I'm being nice. I'm also being nice and not evicting them tomorrow. You can do it immediate, or you can do it in 7 days. And I consulted with the inspector in Gardner before I proceeded.
Yeah.
Did you?
They can go down, they might be able to get, what I've been told, if they're homeless, then they can seek some assistance at the Devons, where they have the social services for.
If you would send me an email with that information, that would be really helpful. I'd like to be able to offer them something if they are still there
I
next
had
week.
clients access that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's going on. I'm handling it. Okay?
Add that to my list.
Yes, please.
It's getting longer.
That 111 Gardner, one,
Mm-hmm.
that house is being sold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open door.
There's a,
Real estate company thing. Like if you look them up, you can't even find the house online. It's like
It was online, and then it went under,
that's that.
because I think Open Door buys it. They like pay and give you
Yeah,
money,
they
and
pay.
then they try and sell it. But
Okay.
it's
Yeah. They give you
That's
about
like that.
half.
we buy ugly houses
Did
type
she?
thing.
kind of
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep moving because
Yeah.
it's getting
Yep.
late and
Yep.
everyone wants to go home.
Including the camera.
Yes. I didn't, so I'm operating off the I'm not sure what she included in the folder. Did she give you a copy of the turnovers?
No,
No.
Okay.
I think we've talked about everything that was in the folder.
Okay.
Mhm.
This first one, we actually, she had ready and we didn't present it at the last meeting. That one was already to be sent in. This is the current
I'm sure
one,
she's.
and this is the current one. Just so you know, a, check from, the diner got a stop payment on it. She called them and, it was withdrawn and then they came in and paid cash and so it's a wash. And so there's the documentation on that. Just so you're aware. We also did receive a $50 fee from Montechusett, and then given the credit because our bill was paid, so they withdrew the charge, and they just sent us a copy that was
This is
withdrawn.
money that came in.
Yes, and it goes to various accounts, okay? Not all just one account.
Okay.
I'm watching the accounts with Nancy. We're doing checks and balances with each other.
And
So one was done.
this is money that is going out.
No.
The payments? No? Or is this
to
more
the
coming
treas-
in?
More coming in.
This is more, so this is just two separate
Two.
time periods.
Correct. That
Okay.
was should have been at the last meeting, and this is
Yeah,
the
this is
current.
2/7.
Yeah, and this is the current one.
Okay.
What was this?
She had charged a late fee
And they
and
withdrew it.
since they had the money, they.
Nice.
Well, yeah, for $1,600.
Yeah, to do nothing?
Oh,
Okay.
that's what
Oh,
it
this
says.
is the
Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
the
just,
stop payment.
just audacity. Oh, we can't do anything for you. You haven't signed a piece of paper yet.
No,
But we're paying you.
Right.
Okay, next we have $13.26 for the purchase of 6 no trespassing signs from Walmart.
I don't think we should pay her.
And,
Sorry,
so
fresh out.
this week I put out the condemnation signs. Next week
Yeah.
the no trespassing goes up.
Okay.
Same
And-
place, right?
Same place.
This is 2 Shawnee Way, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is the expense for 6 signs in case there's a trailer, a shed, 2 sheds, and the house. So
Do you want?
and the house has 2 doors. So I made sure I had enough signs purchased. That's the bill right there. I don't get paid reimbursed for the tax, but that's okay
For the trailer.
Why not?
Wants to.
because the town
RV.
doesn't do that because I didn't purchase it through the town's credit card.
Because it should be tax free, right? Isn't that?
If
We
it's-
had to just print them off and laminate them or something ourselves.
no. It's fine.
At least the tax-free number anyway.
It's okay. So if
So we
you'll
can present.
approve a motion to reimburse Catherine Hansgate for $13.26.
I'm not seconding that.
Go ahead, Judy. Your turn.
I second it.
There you go.
For
Golden.
6 no trespassing signs.
Yeah, aye.
No,
Done.
It's,
Okay,
Yeah.
I abstain from voting because I can't vote. Make sure that's in the record. And then
Yep.
everybody else in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you ladies something, and this might be a zoning board question, but I'm gonna ask anyway, hopefully very quickly. Somebody from the town approached me and said, hey, you're from the Board of Health, right? Yeah. What are the regulations on somebody putting a horse pen in right next to another person's property? So can they literally put the fence for the horses right up to on the property line? And also, these people, their septic system is like right there on the edge of the property. Is that, like, can somebody do that?
So the septic system is on,
is on,
it's not where the horses are, it's
So
right next to it.
it's on the other person's property.
Yeah, okay.
So this
Is
homeowner is
the
asking me if this
drainage field-
homeowner,
The drainage field of the septic
the leach
system?
field is right here.
Uh-huh.
There is a basketball court here, but they're getting rid of that and they're putting a fence right on the line, they're putting horses in here. Is there any regulation that says the horse pen has to be X number of feet from the property line? Is this a zoning board
So
question?
the leach field should not come closer than 10 feet to the property line, the edge of the leach field.
Yeah.
That's rule number 1 under septic.
Yeah, this plot had a variance
And if they
anyway.
got a variance to shorten that distance, but it's the leach field,
Mm.
right? It's not the well.
No.
And then the horses, they wanna bring right next to the edge of the property line.
Yep, they wanna put the fencing right on the property
Okay, so
line.
that person, this is what I'm gonna say, that person should contact Keith Tetrell, chairman of the Agricultural Commission,
Okay,
and file a complaint. And then they can, he and someone else from the Ag Commission can, make a, go talk to
Look
both
into it.
parties and look into it for them on their behalf. That's the correct way to handle that.
To put up a fence, don't you have to be a couple feet or so, or
Yeah,
so
it's
many
supposed
feet
to
away
be 2
from
feet away from the
the-
line.
the property
It
line?
cannot be
It
exactly.
can't be right on the property line.
No.
It has to be 2 feet away.
At least 2. But that's even that. Now, because it's a leach field, if they wanna put it within 2 feet of the other property line and take the basketball court down, I don't think there's anything that says no, but he can go through the, Ag Commission to help
Okay.
them.
okay.
So
Yeah, I
that there's
didn't
no
know if there
hard
was
feelings.
like a
That is the
zoning
rule.
board rule or a,
That's the role of the Ag Commission is to assist in farm complaints.
yeah, I don't know exactly how close the leach field edge is to the property line. I know they did get a variance.
Even with the variance, it'd have to be
'Cause
5
they
feet
only
from the
have-
property line, minimum 5 feet. from
It
the
is
property
with
They
line.
only have an acre, so I guess what
That's why
happened
they
is it was a
squashed all the
bigger
Yeah.
property. The 1 acre got kinda cut out, so the other people kinda own like an L around theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And now someone new bought it, I guess, or they're changing their mind and instead of a basketball, they're putting in horses. Right,
Well,
right
that's a
on the
big
property line.
change from what.
And they, the Ag Commission
Well,
can
but
give them a
basketball,
recommendation as to how much space horses need, per
Yeah.
square footage.
That would be my question.
Correct.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, I don't know why she's asking me. I don't know if she thinks the horse is gonna be too close to her property, or she's gonna have to smell them, or I don't know.
That's
I don't
why
know.
she should reach out to.
To them, Agricultural Commission.
Yeah,
Awesome, that's what I will tell her.
sorry, I'm secretary of that now,
Of what?
the Ag Commission, by the way,
You're the secretary? And who's Keith?
chairman.
Okay,
So,
It's a five
There
board
you go.
member,
but go to Keith.
5-member board.
Is Keith's contact information like somewhere public?
yeah, it's the alpaca farm, right on 68, it's, was
Plain-
it Plainview
Plainview
Farm? There you go,
Alright,
right there,
just go talk to them, pockets.
it's really nice.
okay, I will direct her. Alright, that
We're
was
all
my
connected.
unexpected.
Yeah.
You can keep that full, you know.
Aw.
I don't know why you're packing it in there.
Fine.
You need to get.
Fine, Colleen.
Okay,
Wow, be that way.
we're not quite done, there's one
Oh,
more thing.
no,
Gee.
no.
I'm sorry, we have a current bill from, Phil Ledger,
Oh, yeah,
and, here's all his current bills. I was double checking with, Nancy today that we actually had, paper copies of all the septic perk tests and stuff, and we do.
Okay.
His bill is
So-
for a total of $1,600, of which we have
So
collected
I'm
fees for.
really bad at accounting. How does this work if we're in the red? How do we pay?
Yeah,
this?
We are we still pay. It won't get any worse because we're collecting the fees now appropriate for his billing.
Okay.
Our current septic fees match his billing. We approved that when we hired him.
Mhm.
Went through in November.
not Phil. fire.
So the fees we collect for septic issues since we hired Phil have been updated
done
as of
correctly.
November 2022 to cover what he bills us. The debt is there, we're not adding to the debt.
Okay, I gotcha.
So, I make a motion, we pay Phil the $1,600 for his current,
I'll second
Work.
that motion.
all in favor?
Hi.
Okay,
So make your motion to.
I make the motion, we adjourn.
I'll
Yep.
second.
And at what time is your, what time?
9:50,
What time?
9:57, 9:58.
8:57.
8:57
Oh,
p.m.
yes. Oh,
8:57.
what am I saying? It better not be 5 minutes to 10.
That's fine, I know.
I'm looking at
But
that.
it's-
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.